Hello and welcome to my therapy session. Today we'll witness the greatest leak of all time, Houdini level of magic trick where the money disappears and suddenly comes back as soon as legal action is realistically threatened. Logan Paul really is a gift that keeps on giving, a fountain of knowledge showing us all how to scam, lie, apologize and generally just present yourself as an absolutely horrible person for millions to see. He's like straight out of Lucius, except that you don't really want to throw hands with him. In fact, if you confronted him in real life, who's to say you ain't gonna get bullied like the kids at his school got by confronting his brother, or just existing in general. Truly forces to be reckoned with. Logan Paul and getting exposed for exploitative behavior on the internet is like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object over and over again. There seems to be no winners, and at the end of the day, nothing ever changes. Why this video then, you ask? Well, it might shock you, but I'm not here to expose for the thousandth of time a YouTube channel with the same amount of people subscribing to it as the entire population of Taiwan. Trust me when I say his devious schemes are not hidden in the shadows like he's some kind of a fucking boogeyman of cryptocurrency and NFTs. No. Instead, since there's just no change in this guy ever whatsoever, we'll use him and people working for him as an example. Because trust me when I say that Logan Paul wasn't the first and won't be the last one that tries to get to your pockets in a way that seems obvious from a hindsight and from a perspective of someone on the outside, but can actually be really tricky to detect when you hold a certain amount of trust towards a creator that you feel connected to. CryptoZoo was a project shown to the masses as an idea of mixing gaming with stock markets and monetary gains back in July 21st of 2021. On August 17th, 2021, Logan Paul on one of his podcasts talked about NFTs and how he spent $1 million on them, specifically on the NFT project called World of Women, which is not something I'd ever mention if it wasn't vital information showing us how much he thought money it can provide him in the future, saying lines like, "When people will finally understand the monumental value of NFTs, this will take off." And things in that nature, you get it. Ever since then, Logan Paul started promoting his own crypto/NFT idea, which is exactly what CryptoZoo is, or was at this point. CryptoZoo was marketed as a game with its own economy, where you can exchange the in-game currency into stock investments and real-life money, and buy all the existing artwork there as NFTs. How it would work was pretty simple, really. The game would use the hatching mechanic, and from the eggs you would hatch, you guessed it, animals! Hence the zoo in the name. Truly brilliant. And those animals would exist in the form of NFTs. You'd be able to get the eggs by buying them using the CryptoZoo currency, and that's really about it. The gaming aspect was supposed to be a bunch of mini games that you could play with your NFTs. So if I had to guess, it'd be just a bunch of old mobile game rip-offs and such. Make no mistake about it, Logan Paul was always listed as the founder and the shot caller there. There's no escaping responsibility on his part. I just want to point that out for the future. Ever since 2021, CryptoZoo is basically at the same state as it is now, with the only difference being the coin is currently worth less than dirt. Interestingly enough, it lost its value by about 60% in the span of 1 year, and the charts are looking like someone pulled out of the project completely. I wonder who could that be? Okay, I know we're talking about the dangerous side of markets, right, and things like that, but I've heard there's like this one coin, I believe it's called subscribe to this channel, and if we do that, we will all be millionaires. No cap. no scam. There's no strings attached to that deal. We will just all be millionaires in due time. So do that. It's a great deal, and don't tell IRS. Anyway, now that we established its past, we can look onto the official Logan Paul statement that he made after 3 years of this ongoing scam, where he suddenly had a very real change of heart and wanted to apologize to everyone who invested in the game and wants to finally give them back the money after a literal year when he said CryptoZoo is dead and he won't ever give the money back because it's not his fault. Imagine if a game was put on early access sites for years, almost straight up begged you to pay the money for its development, made insanely expensive merch out of the project, all while promising how great it will be once it's done, but never actually gets even close to getting finished, and then you'll get the Yandere Simulator. But I'd argue CryptoZoo is even fucking worse for the consumers, because with Yandere Simulator, there's at least something. It may just be a scheme dragged to have a passive income while nothing really gets ever done there, but there's still a project, a semblance of a working game to begin with. Here, you might as well buy the fucking air around you, except you at least use the fucking air. So even if it's technically free already, you'll still have a better bargain by buying it out for no reason, rather than purchasing a goddamn coin from a franchise that does not exist and, as we now know, never will exist. Those people bought nothing, and because of it, they probably feel as empty as that project itself, which is a literal void deprived of any purpose other than filling Logan Paul's pockets as a one and done deal. If you bought anything other than the NFTs of CryptoZoo itself, then according to Logan, you threw the money into the deepest pits of hell that you'll never get access to, beyond the Earth's core, it would seem, because for the life of me, I can't explain the logic of refunding just this one specific area of the brand in any other way. One thing you can't take away from Logan Paul is that he knows how businesses work at this point. He's been a part of tons of them, many times in an executive role. So you cannot, with straight face, tell me he doesn't understand that a brand is more than just a singular project it represents, or even just part of the project in this case. A game is not just a game. A crypto coin is not just a crypto coin. And in case of CryptoZoo, only about 12.5% of total income came from the NFTs themselves. That's insane! And you might be thinking like, damn, that moron had to think for over a year just to come up with this dumbass tactic to keep a good chunk of monetary gains and repair his image a little? And if that's the case, then no, that's wrong! He wasn't thinking it all over for years, no. In fact, he most probably never intended to give any money back in the first place, until very recently. It's all happening only because he has a real chance of losing shit ton of lawsuits from people that got scammed by him. I'm gonna give your money back, but only if every single one of you drops charges. Is so fucking manipulative, because while some people would be perfectly fine with that, since all they invested in was the CryptoZoo's art itself, others will get the short end of the stick, because the money they used to get the CryptoZoo coin with will be gone indefinitely, without any chances to ever retrieve it. I mean, you'd have no grounds for a lawsuit. You still have those $0 crypto somewhere in your garbage bin. You got exactly what you wanted, and
the gamble just didn't pay off.
Right. Not to mention, you can't call something a gamble if it has 0% chance to succeed. But I guess it's a technical thing that couldn't really be proven in court that easily. He even tried to induce further panic by saying the offer stays only for 30 days, trying to just peer pressure people into accepting the loss of money for the sake of being done with all of that bullshit. You are the last person bringing time restrictions, Logan. They waited over a fucking year for much as a refund. This is where we get to the main point. Who and why invested in the CryptoZoo? The first answer is obvious. Those were almost exclusively Logan Paul fans. Without his presence, there's no scam to begin with, as he was the founder. The second question is why? And here's where the ever so slightly depressive reality is kicking in. Those same people, same fans, watch Logan Paul's life. They see his success, they see his net worth and popularity, and they are looking up to him, looking for guidance, looking for someone successful to give them hope for a better life. I'm not saying it's a smart mentality to have. I'm not saying it's good, but it is quite normal. And I'd really want you to understand where those people are coming from, because if you do, it will be much easier to prevent something like this from ever happening to you or close ones around you. Logan Paul is the rich authority, a role model that tells them, you can be just like me. There's so many opportunities and I'll show you. And he did so multiple times, like with his motivational vlogs, etc. He has the leverage, the benefit of the doubt, because he really is rich. He really is popular. Those are all things that are undeniable. So people can look past the controversy because, hey, clearly it works. You just don't get it while I do. I'll be just as controversial if it means I'll get as rich as him. Not understanding that the controversy is exploiting them, not something they themselves can use. It's against them. Those people and their brands are not playing with you on the same team. You are just a part of their scheme. It's not uplifting you in any way. That's how these kinds of gurus and companies truly work. And I really hope this can be a great example to at least some people, and you won't be used by those figures as a contribution to 6 and 7 figures of their own, and you won't allow them to become even more influential with the help of your money. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next session.